Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hello, hello, hello. Or good evening, good afternoon, good morning tomorrow, if you're in a different place. What do I got going on here? Let me move this microphone a little bit. So, for those in the know, you know that this music that's playing in the background is basically screwing me. But there's nothing I can do about it. It is so hot outside that the only way that I'm going to be able to get a live stream of Las Vegas is going to be me dipping in and out of casinos. And casinos have music. So, background music, beware. I am not able to do anything about that. So, I'm down at the Plaza Hotel right now. Jeanette, what's going on? We're in the same time zone. How about that? How often does that happen? Rare. Jeanette over on Facebook, good to see you. My plan right now, for those of you who've been to Las Vegas before and know it a little bit, is to walk from the Plaza Hotel up through the Fremont experience on Fremont Street to Las Vegas Boulevard. And the part of town that I'm in is downtown Las Vegas. This is like the original Las Vegas. And in fact, the building that I'm in right now is the old Union Plaza Hotel, and it was where the Union Pacific Railroad would come, right? Hey, Nikki, thanks to everyone for watching this in the background with the footy on and all the rest of it, but especially our European friends who've got UEFA Cup going on right now, I believe. So, Jenny Jean, great to see the Purple Heart. Thanks for being there. Awesome. So where we are right now in this building, I'm going to give you a sense of it in just a little bit as we kind of greet people, talk for right now, just give you some background for a few minutes. Then we'll get started. Let anyone that is around want to join in, they can join in, which is always great. But Las Vegas starts as not actually too differently than Marfa, where we were the other day. It was essentially a water stop for the trains that were heading from Salt Lake in Utah down to Los Angeles in California. And these are, stops along the way. And Las Vegas is about halfway distant on that journey. So it was more than just a watering stop. It became a depot, in fact, when the train line comes through. And those trains came to this building that we're in right now, and I'm going to show you that in just a second. Now look, there's a couple of rules here. Okay, first of all, we're in Vegas. So if security comes and asks me to stop filming at any time, I'm going to ask to leave the building. If they are not okay with that and would rather me just stop right away, I'm going to need to turn off the camera, because I'm not going to get headlocked and the poop beaten out of me in Las Vegas. Lover, not a fighter, guys. So that's the first rule. The second thing is that I believe that the space that I'll be walking along has so much wasted air conditioning blasting onto the open street that we're going to stay in the temperature range. I've also turned off my location enabling device. Not so they can't track me, although that's good too, but because apparently the location enabling on your phone also increases the heat. Tip to all those live streamers out there: if you're having heat issues with your phone, turn off the location enabling. And of course, your Wi-Fi and your Bluetooth and those kinds of unnecessary things, all the other programs. So, hey Alexa, thanks for joining. And yeah, Las Vegas, here we are. Last stop on the trip is where the car will be sold. So it's done, it's over. And I'm flying back towards the East Coast very soon. In fact, Portugal, because as some of you guys might have seen, Portugal is back in tough times with the Delta variant. Lisbon is locked down this weekend. And my brother and I have decided to postpone the trip to Portugal until things get a little bit better. It's also the rules and regulations for US passport holders flying into Europe haven't been completely sorted out everywhere yet. So it's just, that's going to get pushed a little. Just catching you guys up. Michaela, good to see you. And yeah, you know, Jenny, thanks for the additional purple heart. Awesome, love it. Love those purple hearts. Well, look, Alexa, the good news is, however, despite the giving Europe another couple of weeks, I mean, I'll be there in a month or so, but just, it's probably better just to let it, if I have to travel between lots of different countries with a US and a UK passport, is what I have, neither one of them being European passports right now, means that I have special restrictions often, makes it a little bit harder, and it just makes sense to wait. Jeanette, thanks for asking about how my brother is doing. He is doing, I think he's doing pretty okay right now. My mom and my sister, my nephew were just up visiting him in Rochester, New York, and I think he's in good spirits. So I'm looking forward to meeting up next week. We are going to be meeting in Charleston, South Carolina, and that's where we're going instead of Portugal. So we'll probably get Jim, hopefully, to do another live stream with us, but we might also head back to Savannah together and do a little bit more exploring there along the water, which we didn't get to do before. But because, you know, I'm going to keep on keeping on and getting stuff too. So it's going to be great. And yeah, Alexa, the Delta variant cases have been raising, not just in the UK. She writes, and you're right. And in fact, I have a fear for that for the US as well, because even though now New York State, for instance, is completely opened again, because we've reached over 70% of New York State residents having had at least one vaccine, and you know, it's like 68% have had two. The US South, Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana are tracking pitifully badly. And if the Delta variant hits that area, it's highly likely that we're going to see another spike because of so many unvaccinated people. Balancing people's personal decisions and freedoms against public safety. I don't know. I mean, when they elect me office, then I'm going to worry more about that. Right now, I'm going to worry about getting this live stream started, and I think that we've been going long enough for everyone to join us that is going to join us for right now at least, and everyone else can catch the rest of it later. Specifically, guys, why do we need to make sure we do a live stream right now? Because Nikki and Ross are getting married, and they're going to be honeymooning here in Las Vegas. So let's show them a little bit of what they're going to be able to experience and see in this Disneyland for adults, sometimes referred to as the armpit of America, because everyone's got one, right? So let's start exploring and seeing it, but not before we get to welcome Sarah. Sarah, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Glad to have you here with us too. Okay, so let's explore a little bit, and like I said, there are some ground rules. If I do get asked to stop filming, I will. Try to exit the building, and if they say stop filming immediately, then I'll turn off the camera, but I will come back to you guys again. So don't worry about that. And if you do hear the music in the background, you'll notice that, yeah, it's not good. This video will never be monetized, although we're already dinged on YouTube, so who knows what those guys are going to do. Eventually, we are going to move to our own platform for live streaming regardless, so that's all coming up. But what are we looking at here? We're looking at an old photo really quick from 1971 to give us a feeling of what this building that we're standing in used to look like. And we're going to head outside in a second and take a larger look at it. But just in the back of your head, traveling back in time, here's 1971. And over here, this building, the Golden Gate Casino and Hotel, I just want you to take a look at the outside of it and just see what awful mess they made of it in the 60s, 70s, as they covered the original building, which now has been returned to its original splendor of a kind of a Spanish revival architectural style, which we'll take a look at down when we go outside. But let's go. Michaela writes, I was in Las Vegas nearly 30 years ago. Now I feel old. Oh gosh, you and me both, but we're both young. You know, you're only as old as you feel, and I really believe that we shouldn't look at getting old as getting old. It's just us achieving new levels. We've leveled up for, you know, you've achieved 30 new levels since you were last in Las Vegas, Michaela, and that's pretty amazing. Now, a quick scan over here. I just want to show you how Vegas this building is. Over here is the Plaza Royale wedding chapel and florist shop. So, yeah, Nikki, Ross, if you want to do the whole thing here, think about it. You could gamble, you could eat, you could drink, you could get married, you could sleep all in the same building. So talk about that for cutting wedding costs, right? And the restaurant that you see over here is Oscar's Steakhouse, famous spot because it's appeared in a bunch of movies. Casino was filmed inside here. This guy right here is Oscar Goodman, who was mayor of Las Vegas from 1999 through till 2011. I'm remembering that from something I read recently. His wife, Carolyn, is now mayor after him, and she's just reached her maximum number of term limits. So she's in her third term right now, was elected to her third term with an 83% mandate. And so the Goodmans, him and his wife, have been mayor of Las Vegas now for over 2 decades, which has led to some questions about political influence and such. But this is his restaurant here. Officially, it's like booze, broads, and something else. Something with a B, steaks. Jeanette, it's quiet because it's Sunday morning, and you know they haven't really got raging yet, but it's coming, I promise you. Now, as we look out here, if you look out here, you can see this is where this restaurant is now. This is where the casino scene was filmed, but this used to be a pool, actually, in the heyday of this building. And you'd come up and you could swim in this pool and then look down Fremont Street, which didn't used to have all of this crazy rooftop known as the Fremont Experience now. We're gonna go walk down this street ourselves in just 1 second. And we're gonna be benefiting from all of the casinos on either side pumping their AC out into this open space, despite the fact that it's now 103 degrees outside. We're gonna do quite well for ourselves. But we can also really quickly look and see how this hotel that I was pointing to before, the Golden Gate Hotel, notice that the signage, the Golden Gate signage, as I'm speaking, it's rotating and moving. The idea being that this building, when it was first built, it was with money that was raised from Californian investors from Oakland, California, which is right there next to San Francisco, hence the Golden Gate Bridge. And it's shaking because what is California famous for? Earthquakes, and hence why the building is in theory shaking. Well, that's the idea. And I think you can agree with me that compared to what we saw before, this exterior now is lovely. Much prettier than what was added. Yeah, they restored all of this old signage stuff when they realized that having messed with it in the 60s and 70s wasn't necessarily the best idea. Okay, so goodbye, Oscar Goodman, with your delicious martinis, and got a little bit of just old plaza memorabilia here, kind of showing different times and ages and poker chips that they would have used. This is sometimes referred to as the poor man's casino. No, Nikki, I'm definitely not talking about running for mayor. I'm not morally flexible enough, I think, for a local office like that. But Oscar and his wife Carolyn have been mayor of Las Vegas now for 20 years, 21 years actually. So I'm gonna kind of get past this area pretty quick because I don't really think I'm allowed to live stream from inside the pokery kind of areas. But we're gonna see more of these in different casinos, and I'm gonna need to sneak by them in order to show you guys stuff. But right now I'm just holding the camera at my waist instead of at my face, which is usually what I would do, so I could see exactly what's going on, both your guys' chats, but also I could see what I'm filming. I'm holding at my waist with the idea that, yeah, I just walked by security, he was looking at me, I looked in a different direction, And the fact that I didn't kind of make eye contact and I kept walking, I think was a big part of that all working out just there. Okay, great. So what I wanted to show you guys over here is how this really was the old Union Plaza, right? This was the hotel, that was the railroad hotel. And what do you guys say? Should we skip this line? Yeah, let's jump this thing. I think we can get by here without getting into any trouble. And we've got this great mural here from 1983 showing this when this still was, the history of the train line here with like the Union Plaza, right? See Union Plaza up there in the corner. And then we're gonna see this guy in a little bit as Vegas Vic. He's a cowboy over at the Pioneer Casino. We've got the trains coming in, these kind of like Union Pacific and Amtrak trains. And we can see Utah, right, up there showing us where this train is kind of heading from, this train line, down into Nevada, and then over to California, like I was saying before. And then further back in time, you get a feeling of course, the old steam engines, which would have needed, as we learned before, water, because you need fuel, right? Which would have been in here to like fuel the engine, like the ovens, to heat the water into steam, and that steam then powering the combustion, so steam engine combustion. But if we look through what this is now like a gym here, if we can look right through the gym windows, hopefully guys you can see this. If I zoom in a little bit and then adjust my lights, hopefully you guys can see that through the window, what you're actually looking at over there is a train car on train tracks. Can you guys see that? Is that showing up through there in the darkness for you? Just anyone let me know. Just want to make sure you can see it, because that would have been the train, like the train station, and that's the idea. Hey Diana, welcome. Hello. Same time zone as well. It's nice. All being in the same in the same time zone at least. Here, and coming to you from live right now from Las Vegas. So if you look through the window, then yeah, like I was saying, that's where the trains would pull up, and this is kind of like the ticket office area, where you're offloading, and then you're going to get back onto a train, people coming and going, and then they enter into Las Vegas, right? And this would have been like the first hotel that along the way you could have stayed here or stayed up along the space that we're going to be walking to in a second. All of this changes when trains start to lose their power in the US, and by the kind of 50s, with Eisenhower building the interstate highways and then the rise of air travel, this downtown location being close to the train is so much less important than being close to the airport. And guess what's close to the airport? The Las Vegas Strip, the Mirage, the Wynn Hotel, the Circus, Excalibur, all of those hotels, they're only like a 5-10 minute drive from the airport. Down here, we're like a 25-30 minute drive from the airport. So once air travel starts to become more important, or even that you're closer to the main highway that connects you to Los Angeles, all those other casinos were up in that direction, which gave them just a huge advantage over this downtown area. Today, the downtown casinos are, they're just not, they're seen as kind of like second class a little bit. The slots here are what they say are looser, meaning that you win more often by a couple percentage points in the slots down in this area. And for a long time in the 50s and 60s, even into the 70s, this downtown area really fought for itself and held its own against the increasingly nice resort-like hotels up on the Strip. But in the end, they just haven't been able to hold out, which I love. Me and Diana both. Absolutely makes me so happy to be down here, because this is like old school Vegas. It's like the freaks hang out down here a little bit. it's just more eccentric and less like, there's just something like raw about this area, and it's cheaper, which is always nice. And if you gamble, which I do not, because of a story maybe I'll tell later on, if I haven't already told it, you know, then like this is a good place to gamble and have it be cheap. Hello, Rebecca. Alexa writes here, the episode of the U.S. history when the Iron Horse was essential is one of the most interesting. Oh yeah, the Iron Horse being the train lines. You know, there was a great book called Democracy in America written by Tocqueville, and he proposed what it would have, the U.S. would have looked like, how it would have been different if instead of building trains, we'd build canals connecting the entire country and dug those. Would have been more expensive for the initial outlay, but would have been cheaper over a long time because of the reduced transportation cost. So anyway, we can see now the pool down here from below, or what used to be the pool, but now is like a dining area. And let me just cross over the street towards the Golden Gate Casino, famous for its shrimp cocktails. Only $3.99 for a massive jumbo shrimp cocktail, as long as you have one of their players cards. Players cards are like loyalty cards in Las Vegas, so when you win or lose, it just tracks how much money you're spending or betting and all the rest of it. And that gives, you know, the casinos a chance to know who's like actually spending and who's not. Okay, so really quick, I just want to show you one of my other favorite things about the Plaza Hotel. Any of you guys know who Marty McFly was? Anybody know Marty McFly? Is Marty McFly ringing a bell? How about if I say Doc? Does Doc say something to you? How about DeLoreans? Anyone know where I'm going with this? Well, let me show you. Because if you are a kid of the 80s like I was, you watched Back to the Future. And at one point in Back to the Future, Marty McFly goes forward in time. And unfortunately, he had let Biff get a hold of the betting book, which meant that Biff was able to then make a killing for himself. And way in the future, he builds none other than Biff's Pleasure Paradise. And the Plaza Hotel, as you can see, is none other than Biff's Pleasure Paradise. So it's been a lot of things. It was the old Union Plaza train station hotel, all the way to the future that it was Biff's own accommodation space. Pretty fun. I've been here before when there was like a Back to the Future convention out front, and there was just all different types of DeLoreans around this space here. Really neat. I'm gonna quickly turn back in this direction and show another in the distance, which I'm not going to walk over to because there's too much sun between us and then. That is not Ain Street Station, that's Main Street Station, and it is one of the great casinos of the downtown area. It's full of art. It has its own brewery for, you know, brewing its own beers as well, which are actually quite good and have cheap happy hour deals down to like $2 per beer, and it really speaks to the train station-ness of this old space, you know, and how important train travel was to putting Las Vegas on the map. In fact, it's what kind of cements Las Vegas here. Now, there were people here, of course, before the trains come, and I'm not just talking about Native Americans who clearly were here before all the white and black people arrive, or white people arrive, or black people are enslaved and forced to come to North America, and mostly, not all, of course, but vast majority. The people that were here besides those Native Americans and make the first kind of settlement here are Mormons, believe it or not. And Mormons arrive because they're being, you know, pushed out of the East. They're seen as a, you know, historically and unfairly as a cult. Joseph Smith was being persecuted for tax questions. He was one of the founders, and when he dies and is martyred, Brigham Young, who's another leader in the Mormon religion, starts moving the Mormons west ultimately to end up in Salt Lake City. For a time, there's a Mormon settlement and a Mormon fort here in Las Vegas, and they were mining lead deposits. Unfortunately, the lead that they were mining was soft to make into bullets or other things that you'd want to turn it into. And the result was that they ended up abandoning the settlement after a couple of years. Now it's the train that then comes later on and is able to use that fort, and they set up the depot here that kind of turns things around. Now, already back then, you start to have, this initial street, this oldest part of Las Vegas right here along Fremont Street, named for the mapper and cartographer, let's say, who helps plan a lot of the West and the Midwest area, from Nevada to Arizona and New Mexico. So you can see the name Fremont show up again and again. This is where you have your initial hangouts. Oh, look at this guy coming by on the zip line. Zip liner, there he goes. Boom, Superman style. And you can see a little bit as I flip around that a lot of these shops, these original locations, they're just small parcels, right? These tiny spaces. And this is the original kind of what original gambling looked like in Las Vegas. You would have a bar up front, and then you'd have the gambling in the back. And they were, gambling wasn't the priority thing. Drinking was. Gambling was just something that happened after you've been drinking for a little while. And these small parcels, these small spaces, they end up being then bought up and merged to form some of the larger casinos that we then see as we look down in this direction, like the Golden Nugget and Binion's over here. And they managed to actually buy up all the parcels on a whole block and then combine it all to make these larger casinos. That process is part of the issue for how Las Vegas kind of evolves into somewhat of a mob town. Because what really changes Las Vegas's fortunes is that in the 1920s in the US, we had prohibition. So drinking was outlawed. Gambling had been outlawed in Nevada. And by the early 30s, Nevada votes to, or Las Vegas, Nevada, get permission to and vote to first re-legalize gambling and also drinking, but then also a couple of other things that they do. They make it very easy for you to get divorced. If you were to come and live in Las Vegas for 6 weeks, you could then officially get a divorce issued, which was something that at the time, in the 1930s was very difficult. So this combination of legalizing drinking, legalizing gambling, and also making divorce more efficient allows the Vegas to kind of start to grow and come back again through the 30s, and then into the 40s. There's a military base that's built here as well as in the 30s, I almost forgot it, the Hoover Dam. The Hoover Dam is also built just very close by to where we are right now. And that also means that there's just a lot of people who are working to build the dam, a lot of consumption into Vegas, which drives it on. Real quick, this guy right here, very, very famous gentleman. This is the Cowboy Vegas Vic, and he is outside of the famous Pioneer, the old Pioneer casino. They would call these types of casinos sawdust casinos because you could in the old days, the old casinos, you could take your horse and bring your horse into the casino with you. Vegas was a place for ranchers, right? And they'd come in, cattle ranchers, and they'd have their horse, and their horse would be peeing and pooping on the ground of the bar in the casino, and hence you'd have sawdust down on the ground to absorb that pee. That's why you have a lot of this kind of pioneer, cowboy, old leftover heritage here. Jeanette asks, do you know how they are doing that projection on the ceiling? Yeah, so this is one of the things that really helps save downtown. And this is what makes up the Fremont experience. So there's a word for it, hold on a second. It's called Viva Vision. Viva Las Vegas, right? And every hour from 8 a.m. until 1 a.m., from 8 p.m. until 1 a.m. is what I mean to say, there's a show that takes place, and it's synced to music, and everyone kind of stops what they're doing and watches this space above our heads. Now during the day now, the very end of this row, what we have is Slotzilla. It's the world's tallest slot machine, Slotzilla. And it's also where you get on the, this line for Supermaning above us. So yeah, the show at night's pretty amazing, Diana writes. I completely agree. And you also have all these stages that in the evening, they fill up with performers, and then people kind of gather in this space, and it's shoulder to shoulder packed when you're kind of walking through. So Vegas Vic used to be taller than this, and unfortunately when they installed this rooftop here and the Viva Vision, which is actually 12.5 million colored LED bulbs, 12.5 million above us on this 90-foot wide canopy. Unfortunately, Vic's head and his hat was just a little too tall. So I don't know if you can tell, but they cut his head. His hat, it should have like a top to it, but that's gone. And the second thing they stopped is that this elbow right here, you can actually see a little bit of the mechanism there. It's supposed to kind of like, do like a thumb thing, like it's not doing that right now though. So, all right, cool. Well, thank you, Vic. There's also a female one around. I don't know where she find her. All right, so let's get a little sneaky again, and let's go in and take a look inside of a casino and see if I get bounced or not. I think so. I'm going to put this down by my hip, guys. You also have buskers around here, magicians, people trying to build audiences. I completely understand. Let's take a look over here at this guy real quick. Little windswept man with bicycle. He's checking his phone though. Man on the go. And all right, I'm going to wait till someone opens this door. And I want to show you guys inside the Golden Nugget. There's two things in here that I want to show, but I'm putting this down at my hip so I don't look so conspicuous. Let's see. So far, so good. Looks good. I just stopped by a bunch of pit bosses. No one said anything. The eye in the sky cameras above me are picking me up, but no one's saying anything. I think we're going to be okay. So we see a little bit of people waking up in Vegas to what Vegas is about. A little bit of party, a little bit of gambling, a little bit of drinking, a little bit of eating, a whole bit of life. And what I wanted to show you guys over here was this. This is the famous H2o Pool and Aquarium. And if you look through here, what you can see is you can see all these fish. There's got sharks in there and all sorts of stuff as well. But it's not just that. There's a tube right through the middle, if you look carefully, right here. And that tube actually is part of a water slide that you hop on at the top up there, and you come all the way around on the water slide, and it goes right through the actual aquarium and then spits you out right over there. So, and you can, as you go through the tube, you see the fish around you just for a second, kind of like surrounding you, including sharks and whatnot, which is pretty neat. Now, this pool has really weird opening hours, and the slide has weird opening hours, and they do that on purpose because, what are you supposed to be doing here? You're supposed to be gambling, not hanging out in the pool, which is why, of course, you've got, poker tables along the pool, but still, people are not spending their time gambling right now. Again, not okay as far as the casino's preference would naturally be. All right. But this place isn't called the Shark Tank, it's called the Golden Nugget. Now, why is it called the Golden Nugget? Let's go and find out. And while we're doing that, let's talk about the Rat Pack for a quick second, because this is where the Rat Pack, namely Frank Sinatra and Sammy Davis Jr., this is where they, back in the old Rat Pack days, would hang out and drink. So Golden Nugget is still really famous for that, for those guys, and they have a great bar here still, although it's not what we're doing right now. I believe this is the right way. It's easy to find your way out. Ah, yes. Here we go. World's largest golden nugget. This is a replica somewhere. The Hand of Fate. The largest golden nugget. 1980 October in Wedderburn, Australia. The version of this golden nugget weighed 875 pounds, 11 ounces. In today money, this one chunk of gold, and a legend. Thank you, Nikki, for the signal stuff. Nothing I can do about it, unfortunately. We're gonna have music. Yeah, the guy who found this, his wife and 4 children were prospecting when they found this amazing, vertically placed, only 6 inches below the ground. So we're gonna leave now. I just saw a pit boss give me the eye and ask me questioningly which direction I was headed, and the answer is out the door. Time to go. And if we get out the door again without me getting tackled, then we're gonna have the other advantage of we're gonna have better signal too. Oh, don't want to look at the tables. Trying to avoid the tables. It's not an exit. See, it's like this maze. Easy to get in, hard to get out. I remember once visiting Las Vegas, a taxi driver referred to it as the walk of shame. When you're leaving Vegas and the only thing that you have left is your ticket home, you can't even afford the taxi, and then you'll see people like that who are walking the mile route in the sun and the heat to get themselves back to the airport with all their luggage, because it's time for them to fly home. Okay, hey Renu, thanks for joining. Yeah, Alexa, okay, I've got that camera back to my eyes, and you're right, there's no way they were gonna have a golden nugget, a real one, just out there. So, it's so cool to be here with you guys right now, live from Las Vegas. So, viva and vivo, viva and vivo, live live. Now, Binion's over here is another one of those famous casinos. It's been a tourist attraction ever since 1951 when it opened, because its whole claim to fame is, well, first of all, it was the first upscale casino. It was the first one to kind of unite this whole block. And I started to talk about it before. If in the 1930s, suddenly you legalize gambling in Nevada, you need people that know how to do gambling, right? But for the decade before it's re-legalized, the people that were still running gambling dens were, of course, criminal element folks. So when casinos start to reopen again in Las Vegas, the first people that are going to be running them are people that are associated with, criminal elements. And that just kind of makes a lot of sense. And that's how casinos like Binion's here are able to ultimately take all of the small, like, little parcel, little parcel, little parcel, little parcel, and marry them all together. Sometimes you're paying people to leave, and other times you're using other methods to get them to go. And that's part of the history here of forcing the mom and pops out. Now, what Binion's is famous for is that they have a pile of $1 million of cash inside. I wonder if we can go in and I can find it really quick. And you can get your picture taken in front of the $1 million. Pretty quiet in here right now. Sunday morning. Yeah, Michaela. Sorry for not acknowledging that earlier. You're right. It's good that they still had their ticket. Where is? I don't want to have you guys walk around lost in here with me. It did not. No, Club Millions. Oh my goodness. Hopefully all these lights are interesting to you, even though I am a little bit turned around. Nikki asks, would we consider Las Vegas to set up Sandeman tours? Yeah, definitely. There was a great free tour company here for a while, and I really liked the guy that was running it. But I was going to ask him to team up and do this with me right now, but he's changed his model, and he's gone to a model where he's now charging like $35 a head to go on a tour with him. It's definitely different than the free tour model. But where is this? Binion's Cafe. Ugh. Guys, will you just trust me that there's $1 million in cash inside here somewhere? I just can't remember. And I've wandered into pit boss territory, and these guys do not love dude with camera walking around. Even though I've got full tourist on written all over my face, still, I think I'm gonna have to exit. Okay. Oh my gosh. You can't feel it. But this grate right here, it's like wind just coming up, and it feels delicious. And now we're outside. And it feels gross again. But yeah, so, I think that there's a certain crowd that comes to Vegas, and the older generation, which is still more about drinking and gambling, that's what Vegas wants, right? That's what it knows. But younger generations, millennials don't consume alcohol the same way that older generations do, and they don't gamble really. So it makes it a lot tougher for this setup to work. And Vegas has been having to reinvent itself and become something different, more art focused. There's a whole arts district down here, which I love. There's a place called the Container Park, which Nikki and Ross, you guys have to go and visit. There's a giant praying mantis that breathes fire outside of it at night, and it's such a cool experience down here to escape from the Strip and explore a different side of Las Vegas. I really love it. It's not worth crossing against the lights. It's always worth waiting. And now but a quick look down the side streets, give you guys a little bit of a feeling. This is working, guys. We've been live streaming now for 45 minutes and hopping in and out of the casino and being in this space. Oh yeah. I thought the world I love with you. All the time. Yeah, I can feel cross blasts. Every time I walk by one of these doors, I'm just getting like hit by air conditioning. It's incredible. Not probably the best thing for the environment, I imagine. Diana writes, I got a painting from a guy that was using spray paint on a white canvas. Super cool, very neat. And Jeanette, sorry for not engaging with that before. It's to protect the privacy of the clients, right? I tried to shoot in a casino once and was refused permission. Yeah, I guess that would be the reason why they would say it's like data protection, privacy of the clients. I think that they're more concerned about people figuring out their systems and counting cards or things like that. And that, that's their main concern. I'm just gonna like stand a little bit far away from this guy so he doesn't know what I'm doing, but I am definitely catching that naked guy. Let's take a look at him as we go by. This is what I love about downtown. Freaks. Gotta love it. Yeah. Too much fun.
Very good choice. They'll be giving out tickets to the Mobbies today too.
You've got people doing lots of promotion here. So if you do come and you look like you're not from Vegas, they will try to hit you up to promote you, especially to go and do a timeshare demo. It's a lot of what the work here is. I want to show you guys down here is the Mob Museum. There. And if you look down in the distance, you can see it. This is probably one of the must-visit museums when you come to Vegas, if you're looking for a bit of the history. Because of course so much of Vegas's history is tied up in the mob as well. But this was an old federal building, the old federal courthouse, which also kind of ties in nicely with the mob. This plus the neon, the neon museum, the boneyard, as they call it. Those are the ones that I really think are worth having a solid visit to when you come to Vegas if you're looking for that direction. Let me see. Yeah, there's a lot of. They actually have inside of the Mob Museum, they have the Valentine's Day Massacre wall, which is really crazy. That's where Al Capone, who was of course the famous mobster from Chicago, was facing off against the North Street Irish gang. And in 1929, they set a trap for them where they basically had a third party set up a whiskey buy from the North Street Irish gang, but it was a faker. And when the North Street Irish gang shows up at the meet to buy the whiskey, police officers arrive in cars and order them up against the wall to be searched and questioned. Except that those police officers were fake police officers dressed up in stolen uniforms with a stolen squad car and were actually Al Capone's men. And when the North Street Irish gang turned around to face the wall, they machine gunned them down. The wall that they were standing against with the original bullet holes is inside the Mob Museum. So, plus lots of other neat stuff to take a look at. We'll just say a quick hello here to our scary little friend. Thank you very much. Always appreciate little Chucky. Very spooky. All right. Here's another one of the stages that we have, and tonight you'll have this whole area will be packed people getting their slushy drinks. Sorry for the noise, guys. Getting their slushy drinks here in the heat, and open container, right? So you can walk around with your adult beverage and enjoy as you go. You still have a lot of the small parcels, you know, like this wouldn't have been an organic beauty shop back in the day. That might have been you know, a shop for buying dry goods, or you know, a place that you would buy, you know, hardware equipment or something like that. This wasn't all gambling and gambling related stuff. This is the original, you know, the original strip. It's just that eventually gambling was so much more profitable. Saloons were so much more profitable that's what everything in this area kind of became for a while. And now it's like, you know, that plus the supporting stuff: booze, food, casinos, right? Cannabis. Nevada is also a legal consumption of cannabis, regardless of medical or just, you know, over 21. Okay, it's hot again here. I'm a little concerned about temperature, but I want to show you guys one more thing, and then we're going to wrap it up for the day, and I'll let you guys go and enjoy the rest of your day. Yeah. Good call, good shout, Diana. There is a White Castle here on the corner. Not my favorite burger in town. In-N-Out, I've got to say, is the burger of my choice. But speaking of burgers, let me get past the sun. Quick look down towards the Needle there, Space Needle, a little bit of the background. Ooh, it's hot in the sun. Don't you think about it, phone. You're feeling good, phone. You're feeling good. Positive thoughts, phone. Positive thoughts. You're gonna be fine, buddy. Just gotta, you know, got location services turned off. You're gonna make it, man. You're gonna make it. You're gonna make it. Just giving them a little love, a little positive thinking as we walk up past Slotzilla real fast. Look at that sun beating down. 105 degrees now, I think.
On a blanket with my baby is where I am.
On the boardwalk, down, da, 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 down on the boardwalk. Ba, da, da, da. All right, this is what I wanted to show you guys. Heart Attack Grill. Now, Heart Attack Grill, super famous place here of all the things that, all the gluttony in a way that you want to have represented for you. If you weigh over 350 pounds, you eat free, it says. Weigh yourself. Oh gosh. All right, you guys wanna know how much I weigh? With all my gear and clothing on, it's heavy. I'm 225 at most right now. I swear it. I swear it. I got a backpack on. And I got water in my backpack. I'm carrying a lot of water in my backpack, all right? I'm not really that heavy. I'm 6'5", okay? Give me a break. God, the judgment here, guys. So this place is famous for types of food that they're serving in here, as well as the nurses are all dressed. Excuse me, the waitresses. And I just want to get the measurements real quick. Look at my notes to give you the. Where is it? How many calories was in it? Here it is. Their quadruple bypass burger, ranked by the Guinness Book of World Records for having the most calories in a burger, with 9,983 calories. 9,983 calories. Where really your daily consumption should probably be around 2,000, somewhere between 1,800 and 2,000 calories a day. Nothing more than that, guys. Nothing more than that. We look out in the distance over here. We can see more of Fremont East, and lots of cool little spots and cafe, cocktail bars, places to eat along that space as well. I had breakfast at my favorite place to eat here in Las Vegas this morning. EAT, eat, easy. So that's how you can remember that one. for sure. Got one last beautiful sign here showing us a little bit of that old Vegas look. Old, once again, new. And I'm going to try to do a live stream later on today from an art installation inside in the cool air conditioning called Meow Wolf. I don't know if they're going to let me do it because it does say no professional videography. But I'm definitely not professional with anything. I mean, like, pretty amateur when it comes down to it, folks. So if I can, that's what's going to happen right there. And then tomorrow morning, I'm going to get up nice and early, and at 5 a.m. local time here. So I don't expect Nikki or Diana to show up for it, but at 5 a.m. Western time, I'm going to give ourselves a live stream sunrise over Las Vegas. So we'll just do a sunrise is like 5:22 here, so I'm going to start at 5 a.m. and then be done by like 5:30, 5:40, something like that. So hopefully I'll see you again a little bit later on today, and then if not, tomorrow morning. And gosh, thanks for joining me. I'm glad. It's like the first time the phone hasn't died in a while. So that's pretty cool. Thank you, Nikki, by the way, for reaching out and sending the article from, was it from The Guardian or from Sky News, I think, talking about how even in Europe right now, this heat wave that we're experiencing in the US has made the news. Really appreciate it. Just, it touched me. Feels nice to care for each other, you know, and for us to watch out for one another, and I felt watched out for, so thank you for that. Yeah, Jeanette, I don't know. I think there's a lot of room for improvement in this stuff, but I appreciate that. Wink, wink. Yeah, if you've made it to the end of this, don't forget to hit a thumbs up or a heart. If you're watching on YouTube and you're not already subscribed, go ahead and subscribe, and also turn on your bell notifications. Should really say that stuff at the beginning of the video, but yeah, there you have it at the end. I'm going to sign off now from Las Vegas, and before my phone does it for me. But although it's done really well so far, so turns out that maybe, oh God, it's burning hot though. It's time to turn it off. Mwah! Thank you guys. Be well. Talk to you soon. And if you're anywhere near me right now, drink some water. Stay hydrated. Goodbye from Vegas. See you guys soon. Thank you, Diana. Thank you. We'll be in touch again. Michaela, enjoy. Have a great day. Anna Maria, thanks for joining. Good to see you. Sarah, great. Glad could show you something else from Las Vegas. Las Vegas is actually one of my favorite places to visit, although I tend to avoid the Strip the entire time. Instead, I'm down here in downtown exploring, not gambling, or heading out to Red Rocks or Circle of Fire for some of the incredible hikes that we have in the area, although today, it's the wrong day for it. It's a little bit too hot. So goodbye Jeanette, goodbye Nikki, take care everyone. Mwah. My heart goes out to you all. Be well, stay safe, and until we see each other again, signing off from Las Vegas. Bye Mila. And the music idea. Yes, Jeanette, I'm gonna talk more about that. Let's do it now that I'm hopefully heading into a slightly more calmer moment. Oh, want to hear some great news? Wait, did I already tell you this, guys, about the car? My friend who was helping me with accommodation and actually shouted my accommodation while I'm here at a partner of his hotel. He said, hey, whatever the used car guys are willing to buy your car for, he's like, just get the offer from them, and I'll buy your car from that. Me and my fiance need a second car. So that's it. I'm selling the car to my friend. It's perfect. It's awesome. It's wonderful, in fact. So what a great positivity. Maybe I told you that already, but if I told you that at the beginning, I'll tell you it again because I'm so happy about it, and it's worth saying twice. Bye, Maya. Good to see you. Take care. And right, Jeanette? It's awesome. It's good stuff. Because even if I get it for like $500 less than I could have taken it someplace else, it's a friend that saves that $500. So that's awesome. And that'll go a long way. And yeah, it's a really great thing. So it all worked out well. I think that's, despite all of like the kind of like of us not being able to film and so well in the last couple of cities, which kind of, guys, to be honest with you, a little bit of an anchor on my heart, because I want to give you guys this stuff. I want you to see it. I want to share these experiences with you. It was really wonderful, like blue sky, uphill, like wonderful news that the car solved. So no stress there. Okay, anyway, signing off from Las Vegas. Take care. Talk to you guys soon. Ciao.